Bullies slapped a disabled girl in a diner. An hour later, bikers walked in. The diner was unusually quiet that rainy afternoon, except for the occasional clinking of plates and the low hum of an old jukebox in the corner. Emma, a young girl with cerebral palsy, sat in a booth near the window. She loved this place, not because of the food, though the pancakes were her favorite, but because she could watch people passing by, living their lives, and for a while, forget the struggles of her own. Her crutches leaned against the side of the booth, and she carefully sipped her milkshake. For Emma, even the simple act of lifting a glass was a small victory. But peace didn't last. The bell above the diner door jingled, and in came three teenagers, loud, restless, and looking for trouble. They noticed Emma right away. The smallest of the group snickered, whispering something crude. The others laughed louder, drawing attention. Emma tried to shrink into herself, hoping they'd just pass by. Instead, they walked straight to her booth. "What's wrong with you?" one sneered, pointing at her crutches. Another leaned down and cruelly added, "Bet you can't even walk straight." Emma's cheeks flushed, her hands trembling as she tried to push her milkshake away from the edge of the table. The laughter only grew. Then, in a sudden moment of cruelty, one boy slapped her across the cheek, not hard enough to cause real injury, but hard enough to sting, to humiliate. The entire diner froze. A couple in the corner exchanged uncomfortable looks, but no one stood up. The teenager smirked at the silence, then swaggered out, leaving Emma shaking, tears blurring her vision. The waitress hurried over, whispering, "Honey, I'm so sorry." "Are you all right?" Emma nodded, though her throat felt tight. She wasn't all right, not even close. For the next hour, she sat quietly, trying to collect herself. The customers who had witnessed the scene went back to their meals, avoiding her eyes. She felt invisible, smaller than ever before. Then, the bell above the door jingled again. This time, it wasn't teenagers. It was bikers. 5 of them walked in, their leather jackets soaked from the rain, boots heavy against the tiled floor. Their presence filled the diner instantly. Tattoos, long beards, the kind of men most people instinctively avoided. Emma glanced up nervously, wiping her tears quickly. She didn't want more attention. But the bikers noticed. They noticed everything. The biggest of them, a man with broad shoulders and a scar down his cheek, walked straight to Emma's booth. He didn't sit, not yet. He just looked at her gently and asked, "You the one those punks messed with?" Emma's lips parted in surprise. She hesitated, then nodded. The man's eyes darkened, but his voice stayed calm. "Thought so. We passed him outside, bragging about slapping a little girl. Didn't sit right with us." Before Emma could reply, the leader turned to his crew. "Fellas, let's make this right." One by one, the bikers slid into the booth across from Emma, filling the space with their presence. Another waved to the waitress. "Milkshakes. For all of us. And one for the young lady, on us." Emma blinked, startled. You don't have to." The scarred man interrupted with a soft smile. "Darling, we want to." The milkshakes arrived, and for the first time that day, Emma laughed, a small laugh, but enough to melt the tension in the room. The bikers told her stories, not about fights or engines, but about their families, their struggles, the times they too had been looked down on. One biker leaned forward, his voice low but steady. "People see leather and think we're the monsters. Truth is, real monsters are the ones who pick on someone who can't fight back." Emma's eyes glistened. "Thank you," she whispered, "for being kind." The man across from her tapped the table with a firm hand. "Kindness costs nothing, sweetheart. And it scares bullies more than fists ever could." By the time Emma left the diner, her cheeks were no longer wet with tears, but glowing from laughter. The bikers walked her to her mother's car, forming a protective circle around her, as if daring anyone to try and hurt her again. Inside the diner, people whispered. Some looked ashamed that they hadn't spoken up earlier. A few even approached the waitress to ask for Emma's milkshake bill, only to find it had already been covered by the bikers. That night, as Emma lay in bed replaying the day, one thought stayed with her. Not the sting of the slap, not the silence of the bystanders, but the unexpected kindness of strangers who looked rough on the outside but carried hearts full of humanity. And maybe, just maybe, the next time someone saw cruelty unfolding, they wouldn't stay silent. They'd remember the bikers who chose compassion. Because in the end, it wasn't the slap that defined Emma's day. It was the milkshake shared in a corner booth, and the reminder that kindness always outweighs cruelty.